Alright, what is up guys? Nevin here again. Let me straighten out my camera here. So this is part 2 of the first video that I just finished, and that is setting up this website. The website, AutoBidder, integrating it, and specifically optimizing the website for SEO and optimizing it for conversions. Those are two very important things. A lot of times when you watch a tutorial, they're optimizing for one or the other. You're either optimizing for SEO or conversions. This, we're doing both. We're integrating AutoBidder. You've already seen the heavy lifting, a lot of like setting up AutoBidder, the design, all that covered in the first video. Took me about an hour overall, the video. I haven't trimmed the video yet, so I don't know how long the video will be total, but the filming took an hour, so it was pretty time consuming. This one is probably going to be a little bit shorter because all we're really doing in this video is duplicating the process that I started. So in that video I did house washing. This video will be duplicating that, and we'll be targeting roof cleaning, and then maybe we'll target at the same time and do driveway washing or whatever, right? So I do have some images of my own that I use. Really, the key big thing is having images. You want to make sure that you have images to use on the site. And you can use AI tools to help you out with that if you don't have any. Of course, you want to make sure you're using images that have your branding, because that's what's going to make the site really pop, really look incredible. And then you just integrate that with AutoBidder. You get everything, the font all is uniform, it all blends together. Looks really, really good. So starts with the images. I would say if you don't have images, start trying to get some, and I'll just walk you through that process of once you have that. So I started previously with this service page that I intended to use as a template. So now that I have the template, I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to call this one house washing. And that one's already, because I built it out for house washing, that one's ready. It's good to go. Now I'm going to duplicate service page again, and this one will be for roof cleaning. And you can do this for whatever keywords you want to target. This is where you start doing SEO. Like, this is where the SEO to play. All right, so we've got our house washing page. Now we've got our roof cleaning page. All right, so let me just play around with the roof cleaning page a little bit and show you what you're going to do different. So starts with the H1 tag right here. Instead of house washing, we're going to say roof washing or roof cleaning or whatever service you want it to be. Same thing right here. You can see this is an H2 tag, or an H3 rather. Again, just make that say roof washing, and I'll probably use the term roof cleaning right here. And then you can see I'm just going to continue a lot of the same process. Roof washing service in Harrisburg, PA. We're going to come to this text. We're going to click manage text, AI assistant. And you can, there's even easier, you can start with ChatGPT, have it open in a tab, take a screenshot of this whole page, send it in ChatGPT, ask it to replace the copy with relevant copy, and then it'll do that, and then it's just easier to copy and paste it all. It's another way of doing this. I'm just going to go ahead and click paragraph and say make this about roof cleaning, and I think I'm going to change my method of creating the copy. I'm actually going to do that method because it's much faster, and it's actually more efficient as well. Okay, so we got a picture of a house wash here. Now I do have roof cleaning images in here. I don't know if I uploaded them or not. Here's one. It's an edited image, but I'll remove that logo for right now. Okay, a lot of this is going to stay the same. This serving would be the same. This frequently asked questions is going to be updated. This can be the same, because this is just like generic call to action. Just, and in fact, you'd probably even want to put in a video in here somewhere. And I actually have a video for house washing. I'm going to show you how to implement that. I'm going to have to pick a spot and choose where we want to put it. Probably end up putting it right here, honestly. Well, no, not right underneath the form. Washing. Okay, it's fine like that. I do want to add a bit of spacing to this group right here. Maybe. Alright. Just don't want to so close to that image. Alright, we got our SEO right here. Now these pricing tables are going to need to be updated. So I have a tab open. I was actually creating them in ChatGPT. Create. Again, referencing my previous video, these pricing tables and the FAQ section purely for SEO, structure data, trying to show up on that first page, and doing things like this as along with the video is going to really increase our odds of ranking for those search terms that we want to rank for. I think I'll stick with 2 for this. Still works perfectly fine. Now this part, I guess I'll go through the process. So, house square feet. We'll actually just change it to roof square feet. Type of roofing. We'll say usually metal, shingle, tile. House height, and then I'm going to say roof pitch. Oops. Okay. Cool. Update this icon. I think this gets our point across. Alright. This can all remain the same. The images, I don't have any, so this is a demo site. So I'm going to do that. Now this section, we definitely want to update this. Copy. And now we're going to forgot to paste it. I always do that. I always, when I'm gonna ask a message about something I'm going to paste, I'll ask the message, I'll spend however long typing it out, I'll hit send, and I forget to actually paste the message, but this. Okay, here we go. Below is your same FAQ. Let's make sure it's done. Give it some time. Basically, it's just updating this FAQ section to be about roof cleaning. Again, only reason I do that, I mean, it does look cool and it does have a sales effect. I mean, it is going to help you increase sales, giving customers this information, but the primary benefit, the most important benefit, is that it is going to get you ranking, right? And ideally, hopefully, everything goes well, it'll get you traffic and ultimately will get you customers. But that being said, this should be done by now. Let me just make sure. All right. I click manage HTML, select all, and perfect. So it's soft wash roof clean cleaning done with pressure washing, what factors affect roof cleaning pricing. All right, so you can see we got our FAQs. Cool. That's what we want. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Now, I did say I was going to show you how to add a video. Videos are very important and very useful for your SEO. And we could actually add a video, I mean, in place of this column right here, if we didn't want to have this column. But I think I'll leave that. I think I'll replace this section. Well, it's a little bit tough to see when I've got my computer really zoomed in at the moment, so that you guys can see this on a mobile phone, because I'm recording this so that you guys can, you know, watch it more easily on that device type. I think I'll add the video right here. So what I'm going to do to add the video is I'm going to head over to YouTube. The way I recommend adding a video to your page is by uploading it to YouTube, and you can either make it public where everyone can see it, or you can also just make the video unlisted where people can't see it on your channel if you don't want it to be public like that, but you still want to use it on a website. Now in this case, I've got this one just publish.
Hey, I want to take a minute and explain to you.
Now this particular video is actually just, it's for house washing. So let me take this back. I got ahead of myself a little bit here. Okay, so this roof cleaning, we do want to update this section right here, but we're going to want to update that for house washing as well. Okay, let's okay. Okay, cool. Now let's also, while we're here, let's update this section. Okay. Now we will be, that's roof cleaning. Let's head back over to house washing, and I'm going to open up another ChatGPT, and I'm just gonna say, all right, now I'm just grabbing code to put that video onto the landing page, but I threw it into ChatGPT to make sure that it looks exactly how we want. Now, Duda has a system where you can just import the video or embed, drag the video widget and then paste the link, and it's a little bit easier than this. Problem is, I don't like the way that looks, and I don't like that you don't have as much control over it. I like to have full control over the design. Very important to me. So this one, we'll cut this image, and I'll cut this logo right here too. And I'm going to grab this HTML, put it right here, and then we're going to paste in our video. Let's just make sure that the height and width are 100%. I'm somewhat okay with the skew. Alright, that's not terrible. Didn't skew on mobile. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I guess kind of makes sense not to skew it on mobile. Okay. Alrighty. Now, I feel like these are a little bit too skewed, to be honest with you, so I'm probably going to head back over into Auto Bidder, and I think I'm going to turn that skew down a little bit. Right now it's at 6 degrees. I'm going to put it at 2 degrees. Alright. So I've got desktop view pulled up here. We've got the video set to where it'll slant on desktop view, but it'll not slant on mobile view, just for optimization speed purposes. But that basically shows how to add a video to the landing page and make it fit the design and the theme of your existing page, right? Cool, so go through it. We've got auto bidder, and that's pretty much all there is to that part. Now, what if you want to add location? What if you want to target house washing in 15 different cities? Well, that's where we get to the next part. Okay, now this is part 2. This is once you have your landing page and it's like, all right, this is perfect. Now how can I duplicate this 15 times? That's where we're going to get into this part. So to start, we are going to duplicate the page that we want to create a location page of, and we'll call this house washing. The way I like to name it, you can name it however you want, it doesn't really matter too much right here. I just like to say near me. And then the first thing you want to do, so that you don't confuse yourself later, is just hide this from all so that it doesn't show up in the navigation. And then what you want to do, very first thing, is come over to content, and you're going to come to collections, add collection. Okay. Now, it's going to be hard to see because I'm recording this for your phone, but you're going to want to start with an internal collection. All right. Now, when I'm setting this up, a lot of times I like to use Google Sheets. That's a bit more advanced way. There are tutorial guides here to help you, walk you through this part specifically, to give you more of a technical guide for each of these options. But what we're going to start with today is internal collection. And I'm going to name this one house washing. Okay. And this is the first part's going to be the URL. And then, so this field, we're going to call this the city. You're going to want to have a field for the page title and the meta description. And that's the bare minimum. Okay, that's the bare minimum of what you're going to need. Now, if you're going to want custom images, if you want each town or location to have its own image for the background, or you want to have custom videos, stuff like that, you can do that too. But I'm going to start with this, and then I'm going to slowly show you how to add that other stuff too. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Now that we got this collection created, we can head back over to pages, and what we're going to do is we're going to convert this page that we just duplicated, house washing near me. We're going to click on these three dots, and we're going to, well, I should have explained it as I go through this, but we're going to basically create a dynamic page, and we're going to select a collection that we just created, which was house washing. Okay. All right, so now this page has that connected. All right, so now let's go fill that with a bit of content. Let's go, now that we've got our page, our dynamic page, right? We've got our database. Those are the two things we need to make this happen. All right, so now that we've got them and we've got them connected, we're going to go back over to our collection that we just created, and we're going to fill it in with some content. All right, so now this city, I'm going to say Tampa. I'm just going to fill in some random content. Now I have to zoom in here so I can see this better. We'll say Tampa. The page title will say house washing service in Tampa. And then, in fact, I'm just going to get us started by adding a bunch of random ones. So let's just say Tampa, Miami, I'm just going to say some just random areas. Okay. So we've got a decent list. Now what you'd want to do for each of these is fill these up. And like I said, gets more advanced as you go on and you start building. We're just at the starting block. Just want to get this, show you this, how this works visually. All right, so we've got our collection created. So now what you do, you can start by going to the three dots again, clicking Edit Page SEO. And then the reason why it's so important that you set up the meta description and the page title in that database is that when you come in here, okay, it's gonna be a bit tough for me to do this. Let's give it one more try. We go to Edit Page SEO, connect to data. Now where it says connect to SEO, you're going to want to connect your page title right here. And then for the meta description, you're going to want to connect, I did not add, let me go add a meta description. You're going to add your meta description. That's extremely important for SEO purposes because each of these pages, they need to have a unique page title. They need to have a unique meta description, and they need to have a unique H1 tag. It needs to be different enough to justify being a different page. Otherwise, they will cannibalize themselves, and a lot of the pages will not rank. Or they won't even be indexed or have the ability to rank. So that's why it's important you do that and structure it that way. So I showed you that. I haven't set up the meta descriptions yet. So this process, when you're setting it up, there probably will be a lot of bouncing back and forth. So this meta description, okay, yeah, I didn't have anything filled out. So again, you'd want to probably use AI right here to go through and fill this out one step at a time. So, and maybe in fact I will do that. Yeah, I've got it started. I'm going to do that, but I'm going to build this out a little bit further and then get into that. So, very first thing we'd want to do, this H1 tag, this says house washing service pros in Harrisburg. What we're going to want to do is put these little bar brackets. I actually don't know what they're called, but you hit shift this little bar bracket, and then we're going to select city right here. So then the way this works is for each of these pages, it's going to say house washing service pros in, and then that location. So I'm going to change the same thing right here. So I'm just going to say house washing in, and then I'm just going to go ahead and connect the city right here. Same thing right here. I'm just going to connect this city as well. I'll update the design later. House washing details, that's fine. Basically anywhere where it says the location, now you want to update that so that it matches. And this is actually funny. It's very similar to what you did with when you change a page from, you take the page template and you're filling it in with house washing content or roof cleaning, and you're just swapping out the content. It's actually kind of the same way. You're just swapping out the location content with this so that the content will. Now, your footer has to remain the same, like an office address or something that has to stay the same in the footer. And you can see we've got our service area. Once you get the location page built out, you can connect that to a list, and I'm going to show you how that works too. And perhaps I'll update this list right here so that that is more relevant. And maybe this would be a good list to copy, but let's see if I can preview it and just copy this list. That'd be pretty easy. Okay, cool. We've got our map. It's looking good so far. House washing service pros in Tampa. Now, if you wanted to change the background image, all right, you see how I just went through and connected the location? You could do the same thing with a video. If you wanted to change the image, all you would need to do is go back to collections, add a new row, and instead of it being a text field, you want to make sure you select image, okay? And then for each of these fields, you can upload a background image or whatever image, right? It doesn't have to be necessarily a background image. And then, so perhaps I'll do this. Yeah, I guess I will, just for the heck of it. Yeah, I will. So I have that copy and pasted. So I'm going to say make Okay. So now I'm getting a table that I can just easily copy and paste all of this over. So let's go ahead and do this. This is probably going to be very hard for you guys to see. But basically, yeah, I wish I could make this easier for you guys to see. Maybe I can come in here and edit it while it's going. Let me give this a quick try. Okay, so we've got our table. So I'm just going to fill this in with the content that we've already got started here. So I'm going to replace the cities I was doing. And then this is the part where it's a little bit tedious, and actually why I personally prefer to use Google. Yeah, I'll actually open this in a separate tab. So now I've opened ChatGPT in a separate tab. You guys can't see it because the screen recorder is only capturing this window. Just waiting on ChatGPT to load. Oops. Okay, so it's creating a whole list, but I'm only gonna do, just for demo purposes, I think if I do like 4, even 3, I think you'll get the point. It's just when the video recording, it slows down so much. Oops. What the heck? Not copy. There it is. Okay. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going through and I'm adding each page, I'm adding its own page title, its own meta description, and it's just easy to manage it all inside of a table like this. This is why a lot of location pages are done this way. And you can see each of the meta descriptions are going to be quite a bit different. And then I added an image field just for fun. So I'm just going to, I do have a few different images, some nice images. So I'll select this image of some trucks for this background. And then I'll select this image of the truck for this one. And then I'll select, well, this is for house washing. We'll use this picture for the background for this one. All right. Cool. So now we'll click done. And now you might be thinking, well, how do you get to these pages? How do you view them? Well, there is one way. So here, you can add them to your navigation. I don't really like to do it this way a ton, but here, let me, since I'm editing on mobile, let me zoom in so it's easier to see. Okay, so you can open the menu and you've got this option right here. So you can manage your navigation links. Go custom links. Actually, hold up. Let me go back. Site pages. And then what you actually do is click show, and you make it a sub page. So in this example, I'll just make it a sub page of house washing, and then you have to choose a field to show, which would be the city. And then now, let's make sure that we get this connected. I think it's still hidden. Oops. Oh, okay, there we go. I need to view this on desktop. Okay. Yeah, the desktop version is a bit easier. Go back to mobile again. Okay, so I think I have to view it on a phone to see it, but if we view the desktop version, you can see when you hover house washing now, you can view each of these locations. So let's go preview it. Let's actually try that. Let's go to preview. Oops. So okay. So now when you hover over house washing, you can see the different towns that I have added in there. So I'll click on the Mechanicsburg one, and now you see it says house washing pros and mechanics. Now this is one thing to keep in mind when you are formatting this. You need to at least make sure and check when you have a long city name like that. Sometimes with the way your title is formatted, you may need to go through and make sure you make that smaller. But now just to double check, we'll make sure, okay, it says Mechanicsburg throughout, Mechanicsburg. You can see the video is the same. Everything's basically the same, except now it has Mechanicsburg. Now I do want to check that background image. You notice that background image. So let's go down here again. Now let's go check the Harrisburg page. Oh, one thing I forgot to do. Okay, so this is a perfect moment. I can show you guys how to do this. How to change the background for each location. So what we're going to do is right click that section, click connect to data, click the background, and then, sorry guys, Melanie's home. I may have to cut out for a minute. Hold on, Marissa. God damn it. And then basically just select that. Hold on, more. Sorry, I was in the middle of a video. Hold on, babe. I guess you can come in. I was just recording a video. I'm just gonna have to cut this part out. Hold on.
It's smelling nice.
I see someone. I put on the cologne.
How was your day?
It was good, baby. Oh, more stuff. Baby, I want to finish this video, and then I'll come play with you.
Okay.
Okay, amor.
Love you.
Alright, guys. Sorry about that, a brief distraction. So, you right click that section, and then you go down to where it says connect to data, and then connect to background 2. You select an option. Now, here where it says collections, you see it says house washing field 4. That should be the one we're looking for. Okay, perfect. Now, let's just double check. So here you can change each of the page views here. And actually, let's go back to the collection. Yeah, so instead of this being page 1, you'd also want to set the URLs here. So the URLs, I would say it's worth it to add a location to the URLs. Looks like I forgot to add an option. Oh well. Here, we'll just put Harrisburg. Now, I apologize, guys. It goes a little bit slower when I've got the recorder going and all the various tabs. Harrisburg. Harrisburg. And this is a URL, so I'm not adding any spaces. If you add a space, okay, and it's got Chicago here, I could probably just delete this one. Alright. And then I'll delete number 5 also. Alright, so now that we just made that update, if we head back, let's see, is there, click done. Okay, and now when we go to the house washing near me, we can select. It takes a while to update when you it doesn't update right away, but now when you click through, you can view each of those pages. Now I just updated it, so I probably should have done that at the very beginning, because it can sometimes take a minute. Let me go ahead and refresh this. But what I want to show you, now that I connected each of those, or that background, the background image is now going to be different for each of those cities. So here is the Harrisburg one as an example. Let me just go into preview mode here. And then let me hover over, and now let's say Mechanicsburg. Okay, and now you see that's a different background image, right? And so that same, you could apply that to as many images as you want. You can apply it to videos, and so on and so forth, right? So you can see that is basically the blueprint for scaling to hundreds of pages very quickly. You don't go through and build each one of them out. You build the core template, then you build each of the pages for each of your services, and then you create the location pages off of those. And then you can create 100-page service location pages off of one page template. Most people, you're probably targeting 20 locations max. Some people you might want to target more, but realistically probably going to be around 20. So you'd have to do that 20 times and then do that for each of your services. Now there's better ways to structure this. And now that I've got those pages turned on, I'm going to go ahead and toggle off the service page, because this is just our template page. So I'm just going to hide it. And then you can see we're getting somewhere now. This is still a template blueprint page, so I'm going to want to build this out, probably add a contact page, instant quote right here. In fact, let me go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and edit navigation links. And then we could add subcategories for each of these. You could also, yeah, there's so many different ways you could do it. I think I would just leave it this way, roof cleaning. And then we'd want to also, of course, have a commercial page. So we would basically do the same thing. So let me just go through that process. I don't have a ton of images. I do have a few, I guess. So this one we would say commercial services. Duplicate the page, and then update the background, same thing. Remember I showed you previously, change this from house washing to commercial pressure washing. And then you want to get more specific, right? So you want to have a page for commercial pressure washing, yes, but then you'd want to have a page for apartment complex. What type of commercial pressure washing? Stadiums, apartment complexes, HOAs, office buildings, government buildings. You want to make sure you're targeting that, because not everyone's just going to type commercial pressure washing. They're going to type their specific need, okay? So you want to have a page, for whatever it is you're targeting, broadly and specifically. And so that same process we just went through, now we would go through commercial. We'd want to change this to commercial pressure washing. And I believe I have a decent image I can use here. Well, first let's see if I have one in here in the media folder. I think this one will work. Now, I'd want to add a custom auto bidder form for commercial. So, and honestly, I'd probably take the auto bidder form off of this one. But this is where that SEO process comes in, and this is really what you're paying for. Now, yes, you have the AI tools, and yes, it speeds it up, but you still have to go through this process and generate each paragraph, take the time, get an image that works. If, even better, if you can get a video, you have to think, okay, auto bidder is not going to work here because this is for commercial. So unless you have an auto bidder optimized for commercial, we're going to probably need to take this off of here. Now you can still do this pricing charts. You can still do the FAQ section. This why homeowners and businesses trust us. That section's still great because this is more of like a general sales. Why choose us? Not it really industry or service specific. So yeah, this can all basically this FAQ section you want to update that, of course. Now, oh yeah, another thing I wanted to mention. So on each of those location pages, I told you there was another way to link to them. So the navigation way I showed you, that is a good way, but that can also get a bit clunky. If you start getting to the point where you have hundreds of pages or thousands of pages, it can be very difficult to manage it that way. Or not necessarily difficult, it's just more clunky, it gets in the way, slows things down. So another way you can do it is go into that actual page. And this is very useful for interlinking as well, internal linking. So I'll actually just replace this column that I have right here. In this section, I'm going to add another column. So I think I should be able to. Okay, I won't be able to do it as a column, but I'm just going to replace that section. Yeah, that's fine. And we'll do it in the form of a list. There are other ways to do it. I'm just debating. I'm going to turn the images off. I'm going to turn the link element off. Well, actually, no, the link element, we're going to want to keep that on. And then we just right click it, click connect to data. It's going to connect to that house washing one that we just created for the content. We need to connect the title to the city and then connect. And then we need to make sure that the title is white so that it's visible. Well, in this case, it needs to be white. In your case, whatever your site colors are. Okay, Harrisburg, Mechanicsburg, Camp Hill. And then you could just delete this section. Now, the reason I did this is because the reason I did it this way is because these pages now, whenever someone clicks, it's going to link to your specific that city house washing page. Very useful, very important for your interlinking for SEO. All right. So now we've got our page for commercial services, and actually one thing you'd probably want to do with a page so broad like commercial services is probably break it down and have each of your services listed out here. So I think I might do that with, let's head back over to the home page. I think I'm going to do it with this section. Now this section has some custom code added to it as well. Well, I think I have that code. So I'm going to copy this section. And then I'm going to head back over to the commercial services page. And I'm going to paste that section in. Yeah, I'll paste it in right here. And then I'm also going to make this darker blue. And then I'm going to say apartment complex cleaning dumpster pad office building And then here's the thing, you can duplicate this section. I mean, first of all, you could come in and duplicate each one of these if you want to add more. If you feel like that's getting too crowded, you can just duplicate this whole row, and now you've got 3 more. If you only need 2 more, you could just cut one of them. Okay. So, dumpster pad. Now what we want to do is grab an image for each of those 2. I think I want to save the time on that one. So I want to go through the process of grabbing an image for each one. I don't think I do. So, and then again, this process is a little bit boring, but I want to at least get you to this part so you at least know how this works. So that way, if you're doing this, you can continue going, right? So now you just go through and exactly what we did previously with the collections. Now you would add a new collection. This one would be for commercial services, right? And then eventually you get to a point where, let's say you add a new collection, and then you have one for dumpster pad cleaning. And then maybe you have one for kitchen exhaust cleaning, right? Whatever is your services, you keep adding these collections and then you connect them to these pages, but then before you can do that, you need to optimize these pages, right? You need to make sure the pages have relevant images, relevant headlines, relevant interactive features, relevant FAQs, relevant pricing details, pricing tables, structured data. That's really all you do. You just optimize the page, and now you just optimize for the location, or you just create a template of it and then swap out the location, right? You swap out a little bit more of the location too, so you don't get hit with the duplicate problem, but that's all there is to it. So I hope this video helps, guys. If you have any other questions, you want help, you need help doing this, let me know. We do SEO as part of our AutoBidder SEO plan. And if you watched it this far, I want to say thank you and hope you have a great rest of your day.